I already knew then I didn't want to see myself however I was going to look at that point. And I realized that like I already couldn't pay rent, and now how am I supposed to go live, act happy, and be proud of how I look, and tell funny stories and entertain and talk about beauty and stuff when like I'm none of that now.
You're listening to Hustle and Flow, a podcast to inspire and bring together female actors and artists in the entertainment industry. I'm Heidi, an actress, female fitness coach, and self-love junkie.
And I'm Kesley, singer-songwriter and social media influencer. Are you ready to manifest your dreams? Let's get started.
So the first time I ever had my first encounter with you was your YouTube video on a complete chance. Saw your video. It has 14 million views right now, I think, which is insane. Didn't know that I would meet you like 2 weeks after that, and it all
That is crazy.
It all just happened. Like that's never happened before with anybody.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It came out 2 years ago. And,
Yes.
And you like recently watched it right before we ended up seeing each other. Yeah.
Ace and I were on our way to LA, and your video was on my YouTube feed. I have no idea why, because it was 2 years ago.
Weird.
We watched it. I was freaking out during it. I was like, make it stop, because it hit me so hard. And then ended up meeting you, and like you saw how I was acting when I met you. It was just the craziest circle I'd ever like experienced. I was like,
I used to get that a lot in the beginning when it first happened, because it was going super viral and people were picking up on it right away. So I couldn't really leave without someone being like, "You're beautiful." And I'm like, I feel like you're telling me that because you just saw me cry. But thank you.
Do you get recognized at all for it still?
So on the 1 year anniversary, I shaved my head again. And I realized that I'm a lot, like, people notice me a lot more when my head is shaved.
So tell our listeners just like who you are, what you do, maybe a little backstory, like where you grew up, what your life was like as a kid.
Sure. Okay, so I was born and raised in a very small town in northern New Hampshire, where like no one really kept up with internet trends. Like none of that was real. So it wasn't until maybe like right after I graduated high school that I even got an Instagram. So that was 2014. Like the year after that it was just me and one of my hometown friends left that didn't go to college, that were just like sitting waiting for something to happen in our lives. And I went to a really like depressed state for a while, like just thinking that like what am I meant to do here? Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because all my creative outlets kind of went out the door because they were all attached to high school and school and groups and stuff, and now I didn't have any of that. And so my friend, his name is James, one day he texted me out of nowhere and he was like, "Hey, I heard you're still like in town and I hear you're working at the grocery store. What are the odds that you want to buy my camera?" And I was like, sure. I think I saved up like $14,000 doing nothing, like just working, because I didn't have friends to go out with. And so I was like, yeah, I have money. Clearly you need money, so I'll buy your camera. So I went over and I was like, okay, but can I give you like an extra $50 to teach me how to use it too? And he's like, okay. So we spent all day together hanging out, and he's showing me his camera and teaching me how to use it. And he's like, well, I actually really used it for video. And I was like, well, like where are these videos going? What do you mean? I haven't seen anything on Facebook. And he was like, well, I have been making YouTube videos, and I went to a YouTube event and I met some friends and we're thinking about moving to Los Angeles. And I was like, what? I watched Jenna Marbles and stuff when I was like younger, but I'm like, wait, people do that? Like, and you're growing and you're making friends, like that's all I want. And he was like, well, you should do it too. So like a week later I made my first YouTube video, and he helped me and coached me on lighting and editing, and that ended up being my like fun creative thing. And soon after that I went to my first like YouTube event, which was Playlist DC at the time. Now I think it's tri-state, and I don't know where it is now. But so I went to that and I made some friends, and as soon as I got back I realized that I didn't relate to anyone in my hometown anymore. Like not even my siblings. Like that's all I wanted to talk about was video editing and fun like new things and what's trending online, and no one got that. That's not the world that I lived in. So I was venting about it, because also my mom told me that I couldn't like save for college and go on these trips.
Oh.
So I would have to start paying rent or move out. So I like tweeted about it, and I was like, wow, my mom won't let me be creative and be who I want to be and live at home. And then my friend James texted me, and he's like, why don't you just move to LA with me?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what? So it was maybe 3 months later, I packed up my car and I quit my job at the grocery store and I drove across country to LA.
What did your mom say?
I cried when I was like, I think that's what I want to do. I like knocked on her door, and like her and my stepdad are sitting there, and I'm like, I think I want to move to Los Angeles and keep doing YouTube maybe, and maybe be an actress and maybe be a singer, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to do it. And she was like, oh my God, stop crying. Yeah, do it.
Oh.
I was like, okay, wow.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. And so I just told her that my main worries were, because I have 4 siblings. I have 2 older and 2 younger, and we're all very close.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm afraid that if I leave, then I'll miss out on everything. Like, I'll just miss out on everyone's lives. And I didn't want that to happen. But she was like, well, thank God at this point, all of us have like, cell phones, and we can talk every day. And if you continue posting on like Instagram and stuff, we'll all see it. And even on YouTube too. And I was like, okay.
When you moved to LA, like,
How old were you, first of all?
yeah.
19?
Okay. And
Yeah.
where did you move to? Like, what was the first thing?
Oh my God. So I was in an Airbnb for a month. So me and my friend, who I actually live with right now, we drove across country together and both split an Airbnb in downtown LA that was a street up from one of my friends that already lived there, that I was going to be moving in with him. His name was Colin, and my friend James. And we couldn't find a house. Like, no one wanted like 3 19-year-olds living in an apartment. My mom wouldn't co-sign, and so we were kind of stuck. So we just moved into my friend Colin's apartment that was, oh my God, how big was it? 200 square feet. Like, it was a very tiny studio apartment, probably the size of like my bedroom right now. And there was
Wow.
3 of us, and then James came, so then there was 4 of us. And then my friend Logan, that came across country with me, he left, and my friend Josh came. So it was just, there was 4 of us in this tiny studio that had 1 mini fridge, a sink in the room, and then there were community bathrooms. So you had to wear sandals, and the place had cockroaches. There were like any bug possible. Like, it was a disgusting place, but it was $600 a month. So 4 of us splitting that was pretty easy. For a little bit.
And you were the only girl in that situation?
Yeah.
Was that, how did you maintain?
They were like brothers, though. I mean, and it's funny too, because they're all like very attractive guys, and so all the girls like trying to hook up with them were like so weird with me. And I was like, please, like, no one has seen anyone naked. Like, like, this is just, everyone just exists like sleeping next to each other. And like, we're all just friends trying to like make our way. And a month really after we were all living together, it was split off. My friend Logan went home. My friend Josh went back to Australia. My friend Colin moved back to Florida because he felt homesick. And then it was just me and James left. But James wouldn't get a job because he wanted to keep being a photographer, even though that wasn't making him money. Mm-hmm. So I was the only one that got a job at a pizza place and stopped posting on YouTube and was just trying to stay in LA. Like, that was my new game plan, was to just make the money, figure out a way to stay, and then I would figure out what I want to do later.
So you got caught up in the how am I going to survive?
Yeah.
And you completely just went back to the old pattern of small town, need to survive, get a regular job, don't be creative, make money, and okay. And so how long did you, which pizzas, I actually grew up in LA. So which pizza shop?
So 7th and Fig.
Okay. I went to school. I went to FITM.
Oh my God.
Downtown.
Yeah. Okay. So there's 7th and Fig, and in the bottom is a food court. And there's a place called Pizza Studio that's kind of like Blaze, where you go down the line and you make your little pizza. So I worked there. And my hours were like maybe 2 hours a day, like sometimes, because there were so many people working there, but it was a step. And within like 2 months of doing that and like walking from South Main Street to 7th and Fig every day and back, a woman came through and was buying a pizza that I recognized from eating lunch there a couple times, and she just slides me her business card and goes, "Hey, you're really nice. You seem like a good worker. I want you to work for me at this what is it called? Financial management company. We need a front desk person." And so I went from making like minimum wage to like 2 hours a day to working a full-time job for $16 an hour.
Did you start making YouTube videos again, or?
I didn't have time, and I was so unhappy with the small apartment, and it faced there was one window that faced a wall. Like there was no light. It was a very like drab environment, and it wasn't inspiring at all. And so I was like, okay, so I'll just keep working, keep saving money, and maybe at least I can go on trips. Like I can still go to these YouTube conventions, and at least that I'll see some friends, and like maybe that'll be it. So I think it was like a summer of working for the financial management company. I went to the next Playlist DC, like 1 year after I went there and then moved to LA. And there I made some friends that I walked into a hotel room, and they were playing like poker, watching music videos, dancing around, drinking, having fun, and they were live streaming and making bank, like having fun in the room with their friends, but including people watching them online. And they were like getting tips and gifts and getting fans. And I was like, what? I'm like, these people are just having fun, and they're just including random people. Like, that is crazy. And so I was kind of inspired by that. And I was like, okay, well, that's not like sitting down making a YouTube video. I could just sit there and tell a story.
Yeah.
And entertain an audience. And I'm like, I'm like, I think that's what I want to do. So I went back to downtown LA and was working from, 8 to 5. I'd walk home, that would take 20 minutes, and then I would change out of my business suit that I had to wear, and I would set up my phone and maybe like string some pretty lights behind me, and I would go live, and I would just tell these ridiculous stories and like host fun conversations with people. And I grew so fast because I did that every single day.
Where did you go live on?
Live.me at the time, but now it's just called Live Me. That grew really quickly, and within a couple months I had over 100,000 followers on there.
Wow.
Just going on, and then I learned, I'm like, oh my gosh, all of these apps like Instagram, Live Me, YouTube, that's when I kind of discovered that there's an algorithm to everything. And as soon as you figure out when is the best time, like what kind of like content you have to be putting out, like that just goes with it. And then you just grow. And that means more people can find you. So I found if I went on at the same time every day, then people wouldn't have to have their notifications on, like no one likes to have. They could just look at their clock. And so then they would know. And then people would just tune in every night, and I would have thousands of people watching. And if it was going really well, like it usually did on like Friday nights, Saturday nights or something, then I would stay on for like 2 or 3 hours.
Wow. You're just talking.
And then after that, I would go meet up with my LA friends at like Crave Cafe or something. And then I would get like 2 hours of sleep and then go back to the office.
Wow. Okay. So you were doing this leading up to the hair incident.
Yeah. So one of my last couple of days working at the pizza place, my friend came over and cut my hair, and she cut my friend James's hair. And my hair was to my waist. Like I grew out my hair, that's just like northern New Hampshire style. All girls have very long hair and, are very like conservative people. Mm-hmm. And my friend came over and she cut my hair, and I told her cut this much, and it just went from my waist to, I don't know, like maybe like here. She felt so bad too. I mean, she wasn't licensed. Like she just brought like scissors over, and I was like, cool, I don't want a haircut.
What? No.
Yeah. Okay. So when she cut it like that, I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I had a conversation with the one salon lady back home in northern New Hampshire. I told her that I wanted to dye my hair pink. And she refused to do it because she was like, your hair is beautiful. It's so long. If we dyed it pink, you'd have to bleach it and it would be damaged. So I was like, okay, I can't even get a salon to dye my hair. Maybe in LA with my hair shorter, they can bleach it and dye it pink like I always wanted. And I work at this pizza place. It doesn't matter there.
Mhm.
So I was working at the pizza place. I got in with the financial management company. And then right before my like professional meeting, I dyed my hair pink. And so when I showed up to have my interview, the girl that like recruited me to like try to be in this the front desk person, she was like so like upset. She was like, I can't believe it, like it comes out right, like you won't have this hair forever because this is a very professional work space. And I was like, yeah, it comes out. But she wasn't my boss. My boss was totally okay with it. It was just her, the one training me, that was not okay with it. So I just kept like going to get it redone, and then oops, accidentally it's a little pink again, like that's my bad. So she hated me at the office, but that worked out really well live streaming, because suddenly I was this like bubbly pink like princess that wore unicorn like onesies and just would have so much fun. Like that was my thing. It was like sparkles, unicorns. Like I'm an adult living in LA, but like this is my life of choice.
Wow.
I love that.
So was this like an alter ego for you almost?
Yeah, I went from that like shy New Hampshire girl that looked like anyone else to living in LA, doing almost what I want to do, which is entertaining and, you know, making people's days brighter. And now I can be recognizable. And I am not that New Hampshire person anymore. And so that really changed me to being this like outgoing, outspoken person that just, you know, it was so different, like the person I wanted to be. I ended up in one night, I made $4,000 on live streaming.
Were you like,
I cried because I realized there's something with my personality, there's something with the stories I'm telling that just resonates with people, and people want to listen and people want to be entertained, that I realize if I can make money doing something like this, so I don't have to put up with getting yelled at and being like bullied every day at work, I can quit that job and I can figure it out. So I quit the office job. I dyed my hair like purple. It was half purple, half pink, and I was live streaming full time.
how did you quit the job?
It was Pi Day. So I don't know if you guys remember in school, like all your math teachers were like, it's Pi Day. Everyone learn, like, you know, the numbers of pi. Okay, it's Pi Day. And I showed up and I was responsible for the front desk stuff, and I had to clean like the little kitchen. And the woman who was training me, even though it was almost a year at that point of her training me, she always wanted me to bring like cookies and things into the office that I would have to personally buy and then ask for the money back without anyone telling me to do so. And I'm very uncomfortable asking people for money ever, especially if no one needs cookies at the office.
Right.
So it was Pi Day. I show up, and halfway through the day, everything was going fine. And then she looks at me and she's like, do you know what day it is? I was like, I don't know, Wednesday? And she's like, it's Pi Day and you didn't bring pies. I was like, okay, would you like me to go to the store and buy pies for everyone? And she's like, yes, but make sure you go around and ask everyone what they want. Like, if I showed up with pies, it wouldn't be what everyone wanted anyway. So I'm like, oh my God. I went for a long walk. I remember I posted it somewhere, probably on Instagram or something. I just took a video of myself walking, and I was like, I can't believe, I'm getting in trouble for not buying pies. And she made me feel terrible, like, all the time for not thinking about everyone else and not bringing gifts for people. Like, it was nuts. So I was like, this is it. Like, if I can make thousands of dollars potentially, like, I might as well just do it. I can't do it. So I walked back in, and I went up to my boss's office, and I was like, hey, I know you really like me here, and I know some other people in the office really like me here, but like, this is not my choice of career. So I didn't say anything about that girl. I was just like, I have to keep moving, and I have to do things in LA that I was meant to do. And he was like, oh no, I'm really sad about that, but okay. And he like tried offering me other jobs, working for him other places, but I was like, it's fine.
Someone who has like the spunk that you do without even really knowing you, but just talking to you, I could see why you could literally get a job doing anything anywhere. So there's no reason.
Yeah, that's the thing is, with how I grew up, I found that I can be happy anywhere. Like I can put up with anything, you know, as long as like I'm happy and I'm making other people happy. That's all that matters to me. Like it's fine. At the end of the day, I could make $0 doing what I do now and work at a movie theater and just be so happy. You know, like I'll make it work. It's fine. But that job, getting bullied every day, I was like,
Bye.
Probably not.
What happened?
Yeah.
Like,
I quit. And now I'm doing live streaming full time, but it wasn't really. I just started like really pushing the limits. I made some more friends in LA. I met this girl who ended up being my best friend, lived with me for a while. And she introduced me to the club life. I turned 21, so introduced me to the club life. Now I'm meeting people everywhere, and I just wanted to be like out, like living in LA. And I'm like, suddenly now I'm an LA person and I can do whatever I want to do. I work for myself. That's only an hour if I wanted to at night. And so I just started really pushing myself, and I just ran out of money. I was doing too much and wasn't investing enough in like my job that I should have been treating like a job.
Wow.
And I was, you know, trying to keep up with my hair monthly. That was like $200, you know, trying to make sure it was as healthy as ever, and, you know, still dyed and buying all the clothes I wanted to buy. And I finally looked the LA part, and I was living the part, but I wasn't really. So having like completely run out of money, that was the first time I ever asked my dad to help me with money. Like I'm a very strong person and will find ways, but I don't like asking people for things. Like even in my family, I'm like, and I'm like, that just makes me feel like a failure too, because my dad was not on board with me moving. So he was like, okay, yeah, I can send you money. And then, you know, I was able to pay rent because I took out the cash amount that you can on credit cards.
Yeah.
So I paid with that, and I couldn't go get my hair done. So my friend Dana helped me bleach my roots. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I think bleaching my hair at home is kind of ruining it. Maybe I should like cool it with doing so much with my hair, including straightening it every day. So I was putting heat on it every single day. No one knew that I had curly hair like at all, you know, because I just changed myself completely. So I was out with like one of my like model guy friends, and he told me about how he uses a hair relaxer because he has naturally blonde but really curly like surf boy hair, and with all the modeling jobs it's easier for him to have straight hair. So he was like, here, I'll show you exactly what I use. I just buy it at the store. So I went to the store with him, and he showed me which hair relaxer he uses, which was the like not so strong. It was called like olive something, and it is like extra nutrition, like oils in it, and like really nourishing. And he's like, yeah, and it feels fine. Feel my hair. So I felt his hair. I'm like, yeah, that feels good. Like my hair feels terrible. I guess I should use that. So I bought some. And like a week later, I was supposed to be meeting up with him. I think we were going to Dave & Buster's or something. And I was like, okay, well, quickly, right after, like right after I live streamed, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this in my hair, and then I'm only going to leave it in for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to jump in the shower, and then I'll get ready. My hair, I won't have to straighten, at least for like a month. And I can go out and, you know, hopefully my hair will start getting better.
Pause right now. If you're listening to this, pause this episode and go and look for this video on YouTube, because I did watch it.
Yeah.
And resume.
So I sat on the floor of my apartment, and I think my friend Dana knew from the other room I was doing something, because I like never have my door closed. And she knows so much about hair stuff, and she was like, I don't know about this. But I sat on the floor, and I was like, okay. I went through it, and I put it in the sections, read everything in there, and I was like, okay, it says 5 minutes, like minimum for someone with very, very curly, crinkly hair. And I was like, I don't necessarily have that, but I'll just leave it in for, you know, a couple minutes, and then I'll hop in as soon as I can. So I put it in, I like push it all together. It's all good. It's in a little ponytail, jump in the shower, and the water just isn't breaking it up. Like it was feeling like cemented. Like it's just forming more together. Like it was the weirdest thing. So I'm trying to pull it apart. And as I'm pulling it apart, my hair is coming out in my hands. And I was like, oh my God, I just really did something right here.
Oh my God.
So
Do you still get upset thinking about it?
no, not really. Cause I mean, I'm sad for everyone that feels sad for me, you know, at that point, but I can tell the story and now I can see it from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Like it feels less like it just happened, you know, anymore. The cream was in my hair for 5 minutes. I was in the shower for 20 minutes trying to get it out. And as soon as the water stopped being able to drain because all of my hair had blocked the pipes, I got out and I just wiped a piece of, you know, like the condensation on the mirror to see that I was missing this whole chunk of my hair, and I didn't want to see anything else. I just ran out and I stood outside of Dana's room and I said, Dana, all my hair fell out. And she like laughed. She was like, there's no way. What do you mean? From the thing you put in your hair? And I was like, yeah, I'm serious. So she comes out and she looks at me and she was like, oh my God, it's still in your hair. Get back in there. She's like, and then she's yelling to me from the door and she's like, if it's falling out, let it fall out. She's like, but don't let that stay on your head.
Yeah.
So I was in the shower for like an hour and I could feel that my hair was centimeters short.
Oh my God. And you were a beauty blogger at this point? So
yeah, mainly, yeah.
So this is your identity almost. So what's going through your mind as this is happening? What are you thinking? Who are you thinking about? Are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking about your listeners? Like, what are you thinking about this alter ego that you've created? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess first it literally, I was like, am I going to wake up? Is this a dream? Like I like left my body. Feeling this and feeling that it was gone, I was like, there is no way this is real. Like, I'm gonna wake up. Like, there's no way. This only happens in movies. Mm-hmm. And then as that was more sitting in, I guess first I was thinking of probably just myself and how far I thought I'd come. And I already knew then I didn't want to see myself however I was gonna look at that point. And I realized that like I already couldn't pay rent, and now how am I supposed to go live, act happy, and be proud of how I look and tell funny stories and entertain and talk about beauty and stuff when like I'm none of that now.
wow.
At that point I was contracted with Live Me though, so I had to go live just like another couple hours that month, and then that was it. So when I got out of the shower the second time, we went to the salon, and the 3 salon ladies there all decided that they couldn't put in extensions. There's nothing they could do. So they were just going to have to shave all the pieces. I like tried to keep some hairs long, but it was useless. So they just shaved the rest of it to all match. And you could kind of feel on like this portion of my head, the cream got very, very close to my scalp. Because I did read, it said in the instructions to not put it on your scalp. I didn't know why, but I found out then that if it touched my scalp, it would have burned my skin and possibly have stopped my hair from ever growing back.
Oh my God. Did you think about like suing them, or did you think about, I mean, that's a serious question because it's your income, your main source of income, and you can't do that job anymore because of a product that was improperly labeled, right? So I'm just curious, did you reach out to them? Like,
well, because I was really uncomfortable with like accepting that I still had to go live, Dana and her friend Jack, that was a pretty big YouTuber back in the day. I was on FaceTime with him, and it took a lot for me to show my mom what I looked like, and she was so sad for me. And I told my older sister, we FaceTimed, and that she gave me the idea for the scissors tattoo on the back of my neck.
Cute. What does that mean to you?
It just signifies that when I have short hair, you can see it. And then as my hair goes in, that's just something that's just mine. Like, it signified that moment in time that my hair was short. And as soon as I really like accepted it and I realized that my hair is not my identity, then I got that tattoo, and I was like, okay, like this is me owning it. Like, every step I take is me owning it, and let's figure out what I want to do next. So Dana and Jack gave me the strength to, instead of telling every single person I know individually, why don't you just put a YouTube video up? And that way you can just send a link. You don't have to explain it again, because I literally couldn't look at pictures of me that I thought I looked pretty. That wasn't me anymore.
I can relate to a lot of the things you're saying right now, because I'm an actress and I have red hair. You can't really tell because of our lighting and stuff, but I have red hair. I grew up as this like redheaded girl, and I actually willingly cut off all of my hair. I competed in Miss California. I was Miss Bel Air. I was a pageant girl. I was an actress. I was in commercials. I was auditioning for movies. I was on the Warner Brothers lot. Like I thought I had everything, right? But then I ended up in just some bad situations with poor management, and ended up like doing projects that I didn't want to do. I felt like I was being manipulated. I was so young. I was 18 years old. My manager is like, you're gorgeous. Like, you have to do this inappropriate things. Like, you got to do these projects if you ever want to be known. And I felt like I was being pulled and used and manipulated. And one day I just like told my boyfriend, I was like, I'm going to cut my hair. And he was like, what do you mean you're going to cut your hair? And I was like, well, Miley Cyrus looks really good. So like, I'd look really good. And he was like, okay, babe, yeah, whatever. And I remember I Googled, I was like, what type of face shape looks good with like very short hair? And it said all. And I was like, okay. And the last person I was going to tell was my mom, because I knew my mom would try to stop me. I knew, you know what I mean? Cause like your mom, like there's a bond there. Your mom just like wants you to feel beautiful. Your mom always wants you to protect you. Yeah. But it was a decision that I had made. And I regretted it so hard, so fast. Like, and I had to beg this woman to cut my hair too. I had long, gorgeous, red, natural hair, like gorgeous hair. And literally we put ponytails all over. We cut all the ponytails. And I remember like, and then we like buzzed it on the sides, and then it was like a short little pixie cut, and it looked kind of cute. But the next day I woke up, I was sleeping in my boyfriend's big t-shirt. I had no makeup on, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I look like a cuter version of Justin Bieber. And I remember just like almost like going like this and being like, where's my hair? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, where is my hair? Can I undo this? Can I just go back a couple hours ago? You know, and you like, I want to hear about the growing out process, because for me, growing my hair out was terrible. I didn't keep it short for a long time at all. I instantly was like, I want my hair back. I miss being able to throw my hair in a messy bun. It was something I took for granted. It's something I identified with. Like, I thought men treated me differently. Like, guys didn't open doors for me. I went from being this pageant girl who was standing on a stage in a bikini with a sash, and like all I had to do was smile and like bat my eyelashes, to like, people don't open doors for me anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I learned a lot about people during all this.
So humbling. You're like, oh, I have to be a good person now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, when I was blonde, going to all these parties, meeting these like celebrities, like people wanting to sleep with me all the time, I walked into a room and I was like, yes, I am here. Everyone is looking at me. Like, I could just stand here and then every person will be like, here's my number. Like, that's what it felt like. And then my head was shaved, and the next time I left my apartment, really, like publicly, other than the grocery store, was to go to a Halloween party. And this Halloween party was going to be one that all the guys that have ever tried to talk to me were all going to be at. One of them I was trying to talk to for a long time. I go, and all these boys were very nice, and they're like, oh yeah, you look great, yeah. And I was like wearing this cute dress. I thought I was gonna be a bunny, so I had like a headband with the ears on it. And I was like, yeah, I feel cute. Like all my girlfriends are with me. Like we're gonna feel good. We're gonna go. Like halfway through the party, I like all the guys that would just stand next to me all night were just like, well, it's nice to see you, and walked away. The guy that I liked was like, where's Dana? Where's your friend? Where'd she go? I was like, okay, I am going, like, all this is not real. Like, why? Like, I cared so much about, like, guy validation, like, girls wanting, like, how I looked, and now I'm like, oh my God, what is going on in everyone's heads? Why is everyone like this? Mm-hmm. So I think when I posted the video and then I got all the comments I did that were very, like, so uplifting. Like, a lot of people said that the same thing happened to them. Even in salons, the same thing has happened to them. Oh. So I was not alone, and I think that helped a lot. So I think that all kind of started building into why I do what I do now and why I continue with social media. It is to share every hard experience, because if making someone feel less alone, like, can help, then why not?
And you made your video explaining what had happened, because it's a very emotional video. What happened after, like, did you film it, edit it, and post it right away? Did you have some, like, resistance? And then after you posted it, like, how long was it before you started to accept everything, I guess?
I think it happened on like a Tuesday, and by like Friday, I was just sick of sitting at home and feeling sorry for myself. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much when I was like, okay, I'm gonna film this video. It's gonna go up. I'm gonna feel like I can at least go live again, finish these hours so I can make some money. And going live was like the worst, because everyone in there was like, oh, you look different. I liked you when you had blonde hair.
Oh.
Like, mm-hmm. So none of that. I was like, like, thank you for your opinions, everyone. Thank you. I'm so glad everyone can share their opinions. That's awesome. But the more I like laughed at it, and the more I was like, okay, people are idiots. Like, people say whatever they want. No one knows how people really feel. You know, it's fine. So it took 4 or 5 days for me to film it. It only took, I pretty much figured out that I was gonna leave it close to unedited, but I did edit out a lot of me like rambling and crying and getting like too ahead of myself. And I was like, I'm just gonna leave what's important, and then that's it, put it up. And instantly, because I took away everything that was on my Instagram, because I didn't want anyone to see me blonde, and then I didn't want to see myself blonde, so I took all photos down, which worried a lot of people, which I'm like still so sorry for everyone that like really, they thought I was like dead. Yeah, so when that video went up, I did a photo shoot with an old photographer friend, which was like the first photo of me with a shaved head that was attached to all the, like, oh my God, all the articles written about me, like all the, you know, little shows that my story was featured on. And posting that video in that photo first drew a lot of traffic, of course, just from my friends and my family that all wanted to go watch the whole thing and be supportive and let me know that I am the same no matter what. And because initially, like, what I learned now about algorithms and how YouTube works is because initially everyone that cared about me saw the whole video. So the whole, like, they didn't like skip through it. They watched the whole thing. They liked it. They commented on it. And they kept up with me. That helped the algorithm a lot. So then a week later, it was at almost 1 million views.
Wow.
And I woke up to an email from, what was it? It wasn't Cosmopolitan right away. It was Allure magazine. And I was like, oh my God, I used to subscribe to Allure. Like, I got that in the mail. And they're like, hey, we just have some questions, if it's okay if we talk about your story. And I was like, okay. So I'm just answering emails, and then next thing I know, I'm getting videos of my friends listening to the radio in Australia and them covering my story. And I'm getting screenshots of the Times magazine in like London covering my story. And that's really when I realized, like, this isn't about me. Like, this story, it can now be used to, like, inspire other people to, like, take more care of themselves and know that, like, they are beautiful and okay no matter what. And these beauty products have like changed so much, and it's so scary that you don't know what's in things.
Yeah.
And there's not enough warning labels. You can put anything out there. And I was in the beginning of all that, I was in this documentary where I learned a lot about the, like, administration of putting out products. I learned that all you need is a product similar enough to one that's already out there, and it's approved. You're fine. You don't have to go through anything. So even if I took a basic eyeliner, just like the one I use, but I decided to put in another chemical that could burn your eyes, but it might make it stay on longer. That's it overlooked. Like, they don't even care. So things aren't being looked into at all. And from posting the video, I mean, I was knocked down a lot about like possibly suing, you know, the relaxing company, because I got a lot of hate, as well as good stuff. I got a lot of hate about that product. Not like, I'm not the type of person that's supposed to use that product. And so there's just a lot of people saying that it was just me and I misused it. And yeah, that's happened to other people, but why should I get the spotlight?
Wow. How did you deal with that?
Haters gonna hate.
I know, they are gonna hate. And so, I mean, you just kind of like fight hate with love and say, I'm so sorry you think that, and I'm sorry you think that I took advantage, and I'm sorry you think that I did this on purpose for a spotlight. And I mean, that's kind of it, because I realized, like, if you retaliate to all hate with, you know, full written out answers, what are the odds that they're even gonna read that how you mean it?
So what does beauty mean to you now? Like, and how is it different than what you thought it was, like, before this happened?
Oh my gosh. I am like mad. I am mad that makeup, hair stuff, that they're all called beauty products. Because who says that the things you put on your face, the things you put in your hair, that is beauty? Like, that is what makes you beautiful. It's what you put on. It, like, that's ridiculous to me. It's crazy. So someone at some point, just like me before blonde, was like, yeah, it's what I do with my hair. It's how I do my makeup. It's the clothes I wear. That is me being beautiful. That's when people compliment me, is when I look like that. But that's not true. Like, if you were standing in a crowded room and, like, there were two different types of people. There's someone standing there, no makeup, like, any type of clothes, like, nothing matters, and they're smiling. Wouldn't you rather hang out with them rather than some model-esque tall person wearing, you know, the most glamorous outfit, the best hair, the best makeup, and they're just, like, existing? Yes. Wouldn't you rather be with the happy looking person? Because that, like, that's beauty. Like, that's who you want to surround yourself with, right?
Yeah. Wow. I went through that too with the whole growing my hair out thing, where I dove deep into, like, self-reflection, because you define beauty, you know, and who cares if somebody else thinks you're beautiful? At the end of the day, it's what matters to you. And I've been thinking a lot about this lately, because quarantine has been just this crazy, like, thing of let your roots grow out. And, you know, like, you can't go to the store to buy makeup, really. Like, if you're buying makeup, it's got to be online, and it could be weeks until you get it. So there have been things where it's like, okay, well, I'm out of concealer, my roots are growing out. I have fair skin and freckles. Like, I always wear makeup. I've always, like, my skin has been probably my biggest insecurity my entire life. Like, as a little girl, like, I was called fire crotch. I was bullied so hard when I was, like, a little girl. So just imagine how that has, like, carried into my adulthood. And I realized that I have been covering my face every single day since I could put makeup on, as a 10-year-old cheerleader who would get in trouble. I would have to run laps at cheer practice if I didn't have makeup on and a bow on top of my head. I mean, that's how I grew up. And what a sad thing to think that I'm literally covering up my face every single day of my life.
Yeah. Right.
what was one thing that you learned about yourself, like once you had shaved head and life is different? Like, what did you learn about yourself or learn to love about yourself?
I think one of the biggest things was like, I thought about if I was like 12 years old looking at me right now, or me with a shaved head, like that is the type of person that I want to be, you know. But young me like wanted like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be an actress, I'm gonna look like this. But if young me met me in that moment, I would have realized like that is who I want to be. So I am the person that I would have looked up to, and I think that like that is really cool to think about.
That obviously changed your life like a lot, changed the course of your career as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like, where are you now, and like what are you working on, what are you up to now?
Well, so much. I feel like anyone is capable of doing anything. You know, I realize that at this point. It doesn't matter who you are, like where you come from. But because of how much I learned about people and their self-worth and their vision of beauty, and I did a lot of work with a lot of wig companies, getting paid a lot of money to review their stuff, but the cleanest reviews where I don't say anything negative. Always in the agreement, it's you can't say anything negative. So like I can only be as honest as possible and show me brushing out a wig and that it's coming out, but I can't say anything bad about it. So I found ways to show good and bad, you know, throughout the time. And then if I'm not getting paid to review wigs and I want to show my wigs anyways, I'll be like, this one, not very good. This one's better. And that became something that a lot of people flocked to me about. And they wanted to know what wigs that I thought were good and what wigs I didn't like, and how they look and how I cut them. And I learned that that's like such a huge industry, and a lot of women that feel the worst about themselves is usually because of not having hair. And so there's a lot of you know, like cancer patients, people with alopecia, people who have the same incident as me, or people that have been in accidents where they had to get surgery on their head and their hair doesn't grow back in some spots now. And that is such a sore spot for so many people. And a lot of those sad people are looking at wigs to make them feel better. So I realized with all the knowledge that I have about wigs, why not just release my own wigs and not promote them like these other wig companies that are like, wear these wigs to be beautiful. I want these wigs to be something that is an addition to your beauty, like something that adds to you, not something that is you. So that is how I want to, like, because wigs can only be so different than one another, but I think it's how you get it out there is very important. So
you have your own company now.
Yeah. So I like legally own like the name, and I am working on the website, and this has been going on for the last year, and finally now I'm talking about it more. But of course, with everything going on in the world right now, it's very hard to get those connections. And I mean, I can't just reach out to any company and be like, send me, like any factory and be like, send me a wig right now, or a sample, so that I know if I want to mass, you know, order a certain,
Right.
you know. So right now it's very hard. So we're going through some slow time, but it's fine, because, you know, that's more time to.
So you're in the process of creating all the products.
Yeah.
Has that been really fun?
It's really cool. I mean, because I ended up like kind of like growing a hatred for wig reviews, because I'm like, oh my God, they're so boring. Like I just put them on, you know, and then a company pays me a lot of money, and that's great. And people do want to see the new wigs, so it helps them see if they want them, and that's fine. But I'm like, that's just so boring. And like, again, like I hate how a lot of companies advertise them. So then now looking for my own collection, I'm looking at all these wigs, I'm like, oh my God, that one's good. Like maybe if they did the bangs differently, but I could ask them to do that. And, you know, so it's just like I'm playing.
Do you think that joy has to do with success? Like, what is that to you, you know? Compared to like your job where you hated your job and you were making minimum wage, or you were making $16 an hour. Like, do you feel like joy helps you manifest more money and more abundance and more opportunities?
Absolutely. I think just like as human beings, we we'll always make choices to get closer and closer to what we want, whether you're thinking about it all the time, where you want to be in the future or not. Like, you will just choose that way. But usually subconsciously you choose what makes you happy. And so hopefully if you choose what's happy, you will get to where you want to be. And if you're not where you wanted to be, then you probably wouldn't have been happy there then, if you're not making those decisions. So I think every weird choice I've ever made has definitely brought me to this now. Because I mean, even in the beginning of me doing wig reviews, I would have been like, me starting a wig company, like, why? Like I don't know what I want to do, but it just makes sense to me now. And subconsciously I've collected all these wigs and I've learned all this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can do that.
Wow.
So obviously what you went through was extremely tough, was definitely a painful experience. But knowing what you know now and who you are now, would you go through all that again to be who you are and know what you know now?
Easily.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, easily. That was a question that a lot of people asked right away too. They're like, yeah, but did you know you'd have this career? And at that moment I'm like, a career filming videos, like, yeah, because I still wasn't in the headspace of like, why am I doing this? And as soon as I found my why, like, you find out what, like who you are. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
You're
so
so inspiring and cute. Okay. So, are you acting still? Do you still want to pursue acting?
No. Like how you said in your acting background, I am very afraid of, I don't know, possibly losing myself while trying to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And especially with how much I've gone through, it's really hard for me to listen to people try to tell me to do things I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I am such a stronger person now than ever. Like, I can call it out instantly what I wouldn't want to do and why I wouldn't want to do it. And that's something I would have never done before. I would have put up with whatever and been like, oh, well, it's okay. I guess I can do that. But now I'm like, what? Why would I do that?
I love that. I want to be able to just be like, call somebody out on their shit. Like, you know, when somebody's just saying something inappropriate or what, like, you know, like, why don't women just like put people in their place? Like, we just want
I
to be
think
nice.
because women were always told, like, oh, if you speak up like that, like, you're crazy. Like, you got to take a step back. But like, no.
Yeah, I'm working on being unapologetic because I noticed that I apologize for everything all the time. And I'm like, why am I apologizing all the time? So I've stopped.
We've been
I'm
conditioned.
trying to stop. Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people, and I definitely, when I was younger, would apologize for the littlest things. And reflecting on it now, I think why we apologize so much, it's because we think that whatever we do affects the other person so much. Yeah. But in the end, like, because we're like, okay, well, I didn't really mean it. If you took it that way, I don't know. And so you want to overcompensate. But in the end, you really don't have to. And especially if you did mean to do something, but you didn't mean to hurt their feelings, you can say, I am sorry that hurt your feelings. I didn't mean for it to be like that. Instead of just being like, I'm sorry for for that.
Right.
You know, you can apologize for a portion. You just have to kind of split it up that way and be like, oh, I'm not sorry for saying it. I'm sorry you took it that way. And then you can have a chance to re-say it or redo it, you know. But then that has to do with the other person being as welcoming and with that. But if they're not okay with letting you explain, then they're probably not worth being around.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll just be apologizing for, I'm sorry if I was too loud.
Right.
Or like, I'm sorry for like talking about myself, or like sorry for just the dumbest things.
Yeah. It's just,
People love talking about themselves.
We're just like so conditioned to apologize. And I just think probably a great thing is like the key to being unapologetic is just understanding that you're not responsible for the way that people react.
Yes.
Like, where can our listeners find you? Where can we keep in touch with you? Is there anything you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Yeah. So all of my social media is YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Now everything is just Hannah Forcier. Like one word, my first and last name. So it's the same thing everywhere. Instagram, I check my DMs like every day. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, there's that. And I also still have my Twitter notifications on. So if anyone wants to go there.
Awesome. We love it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
my gosh.
so glad you were available. I'm so glad.
For you guys, anytime. I'll come back.
Hey! Okay, cool. Well, until next time, hustle and flow.